Hello, everybody. I think we're going live, and there's some flickering issue that may have been resolved. So let's see. Well, hopefully it is. So good to see everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, coming to you live. You're seeing me on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we're going to get Instagram. Instagram's up, I believe, too, and TikTok with that. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi once again. And what we do here is we take your immigration questions. We give general education responses so you have an idea of what's going on, because it could be very confusing with immigration law. I've been doing this for 10, 15 years, something like that. And I have teams that have been doing all this kind of stuff. And every day we're learning something new or deal with new issues. It's amazing that you think they have system design and answers for everything, but it's not. And that's where our job comes in to help with that. We're going to have general education only. Now, quick note, if you're interested in a marriage case, a fiance case, this is our bread and butter, so we love to do. We have a free guide. If you go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com, you can download our free 40-plus page guide. It really is all there, what you need to, the basics need to know. So you know what questions to ask if you hire help or just want to envision how things are going, what's needed for this process. That's really going to help you there. So you're definitely going to check that out. And just let you know, we are taking your questions live and everywhere. One big problem we have is the internet is terrible here. It just gets worse and worse, as the regulars of the show have known. And I hate to complain about that. I speak well, but that's going to end up cutting out a bunch of stuff. That's probably why things are a little slow right now. The questions coming in, because usually by now I'm inundated with questions. So the internet is probably not being the best. But thank you everyone for joining. We're taking your questions. A lot of changes happen every day with U.S. immigration system. The filing fee increase is happening, tremendous increases in certain types of cases, business cases, basic green card cases happening on April 1st. And we're doing a rush right now, submitting these cases before the deadline. And because people are saving, $1,000, $2,000. So we're rushing to get those in. The final set are being reviewed and to be sent in, all that kind of stuff. But it's wonderful to get people marriage green cards, family-based green cards, even point-based stuff. Sometimes the timing works out for that, and that's what we're here to do. Now, other cases and stuff are everything essentially is taking longer than usual, except for marriage adjustment case or green card in the U.S. But Rosa asked, my husband is a CR1 and CC ready. I'm not sure what CC ready is. In December 2023, I think you probably mean DQ or something like that, to qualified. How long until interviewing Juarez? Well, Juarez is taking less than a year right now for my Mexican case. I've been wanting to do this multiple TikTok videos and shorts on this about case processing in Mexico, how long it takes. But I just so busy, I haven't had time to make the marketing material or these kind of stuff. But December 2023, you're probably before December 2024. It could be anywhere from 4 to 12 months average, I would say. It was up to like 2, almost 3 years for Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, but it's gone faster. Now, some cases one off will take much longer, but probably, I don't know, 6 to 9 months, but it always changes. Stone 22 asks, how long after submitting an EAD renewal before you get a receipt notice? Well, usually receipt notices come within like 10 days. Sometimes the government messes up and takes like months to get it. And sometimes the receipt notice is lost in the mail. So you kind of got to keep track of it. And it's very important for EAD renewal. For those who don't know, this EAD is a work permit. You may have a work permit for different kind of reasons, but it expires. And some work permits, you got to renew it before it expires. And then you have a gap in work. You won't be able to work until a new one comes. Now, for some basis of work permits, they allow you to get an automatic like 150 or 180-day extension or something like that just by filing it. And so you need the receipt. So let's say someone is a C9 category. This is a green card pending case, and their work permit is about to expire. If they renew it in time, the expired expired work permit plus a receipt notice of that will be on my extension. It'll keep them working. So it's very important to have that. I appreciate your worry that you have some. RV on what is this? YouTube asks, hi John, I lost my I-129C H-1B approval notice. Can you please let me know what I can do to get more and more? Well, that's horrible. When you're getting certain kinds of, how should I put it? Certain kinds of work visas, there's different receipt notices, even approval notices that come out. Some go to an employer, some go to the person, some go to the attorney. You have different labels and stuff like that. So for H-1B approval, you want to have the original that's for the beneficiary, because some embassies want to see that, and some port officers want to see that when you're entering the U.S. What you could try to do is ask USCIS to resend a new one. I think they have a lost docs tab on myuscis.gov. I'm not sure if they changed it or not. Call them up and see if you can get a new one. They may send it. That's pretty much the only thing you can do in these kind of situations. Now, if you already have the visa, you're probably not going to need to show it again. But just see if USCIS can resend you a new one, or at least the employer should have kept a copy of it, or the law firm, so you get at least have the copy of, approval. Original is better, but they have the power to go and look it up to make sure that that the copy isn't of the original. So it's not hard for them per se. I can't say that for sure. It depends on the situation, but you'll probably be okay. Although some embassies want the original. So if you haven't got the visa, you have a visa appointment, you lost the I-29C version of the receipt, I-797C version, that is, then it'll probably be okay depending on what country you're from and luck. It all comes down to luck. Is it going to be an officer who wants to be strict about it or not? Let's see. Farwad says, are spouse visa or Pakistan USA closed? No, not at all. We have a lot of Pakistani cases all the time. Virtual X says, how long is Mumbai consulate taking to schedule interview for CR1 after DQ? Probably less than a year. Queen Shania says, can I change from marriage-based to VAWA? I don't know if you could do it. It's possible, but I don't know your facts to say if you could do it or not. Omar Ravi follows up. Do you have any idea how long it takes for USCIS to issue a new notice? No. I'll be honest. Usually, even if they do send a new one, it never comes because I've had to fight with them about resending stuff before. So it's downhill from here, buddy. But give it a shot. You might get lucky. Sorry. Omari says, when you receive your work authorization, how long can you wait for your green card? There's no correlation. There's no connection between getting the work permit approved and when the green card comes. Switch to Instagram. I look at some questions there. Chris Cruz says, does it matter if I'm in Florida to hire your fiance visa? No, we handle case from across the country, Chris. Sorry to get your question late, but go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact, or just jqqlaw, and fill out that questionnaire page, your contact info, and we can discuss the rest later. But yeah, we handle cases from across the country. The location doesn't matter. Miss Medina says, how long does a K1 visa take in Switzerland? I don't know, 1 to 2 years. Irma says, I got an O1 visa. Can I apply for a green card? Is there a faster way to do that? And can I live the country? Irma has a lot of questions. Whether you can apply for a green card depends on your background. So schedule a consultation. We'll go into it. Chris Cruz follows up. Does the Philippine fiance cases take longer in other countries? Yes, because getting an appointment in the Philippines has been backed up hardcore. I don't have any active cases in the Philippines right now, so I'm not sure if it's gotten better. But I remember during COVID, so 2022 and 2023, it was horrible. One of the worst hit countries. But they are backed up, fiance cases especially, and they hassle them too. So, yeah, it's going to take 2 or 3 years probably on that one. Yasin says, can you talk about expedite requests for I-130 visas? There's no I-130 visa desired with your petition, but if there's a reason for an expedite, you can make the request. Just, you call USCIS for some sort of reason that's urgent or humanitarian or something like that. Adil says, hello, sir. This side Adil from India. I need a visa, USA work permit. I'm looking for a job. I can't help you, buddy. I don't have any power there. Dr. Condit says, greetings, sir. Please, sir, any news about F2A case that are current? Are we going to have ILs soon? I'm not sure about ILs, but it's really, each case is different in the government. Even though if they're current, they take a long time. Ms. Mina says, how long is the K1 visa taking? I haven't handled a fiance visa in Portugal. Frankly, I usually try not to handle fiance visas. Most of the time, it's better to get married than to do a fiance visa. So you really need first of all, download our guide, a marriage immigration guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And then I have a bunch of videos on YouTube everywhere about this. So why the marriage green card in most cases is better than doing the fiance visa route. It says, is USCIS waiving interviews for marriage-based filings submitted? Listen, they can make a decision tomorrow and say every day tomorrow is going to have it. So it's not any hard fact thing that says, what about this? What about that? It's just that. And people do stress out about this waiver situation. It's very important for applicants, but the grand scheme of things, that's not, if you have a solid case, but most cases are, that's not the most important part. It's just like a formality. Parnasap says, how long does it take to get it? I don't know. Just whenever the government gets around to it. That's the real answer to that one. Thomas asks, previous marriage case denied, BIA confirmed denial, but stated clearly 204C was not applied. USA is now trying to bring previous case to deny new application. Yeah, that's unfortunately USCIS do whatever USCIS wants, and then you complain about it and you go through this whole system and go through hell. So, but once you get hit with that presumption or some sort of look of marriage fraud, they're going to hit you on that. USCIS, that's what USCIS wants to do. I'm sorry, Thomas. It's a really bad situation to be in. I hear you. Okay, let's go to TikTok really quick. We have Virtual Ventures really loving the show and asking a lot of questions. Okay, you might have to crowd them out. Hey, I have a green card. Roughly, what's the cost to naturalize? Well, the government fee is $725 today. It's going to increase. Then how much your case is depends on what law firm you hire. Some people hire $100. Some people are $10,000. Really depends on what you're doing. Meg says, hi, it's a travel firm. We effective. Hi, since travel permit will be 630 effective April 1st, you think we should get it? So a travel permit has different kinds. There's a reentry permit, there's a refugee travel document, there's a advanced parole or humanitarian parole document based on that. There's TPS travel permission based on that. So when you say travel permits, it's not clear what you're saying and if you even need it. So I can't tell you if you need something. I don't even know anything about you enough to be able to say like get it. But if you think you need it, talk to the lawyer and get it in time. I mean, it's up to you. I don't know. Farwad says, all right, we already answered that question. Marty says, okay. How long does it take to get out on 30 petition to approve for your spouse living in U.S., married to U.S.? If you are living in the U.S. with your spouse and the spouse entered lawfully, you wouldn't be worried about how long the I-130 is going to take. You worry more like I-485 and adjustments. And it really depends on your case and your background and the city you are and luck and all that. What do I do? My son lost his EAD. What's the process? You have to ask for a new one. It's a bad situation, unfortunately. It's going to take forever. Parnum says, how long does it take to get an I-485 approved? That's not clear. If you do a K-1 and then do your AOS, your adjustment of status, are you already going to be in their system? No, you have to. It's a whole new application that you have to start. Fawaz says, how about fiancé visa? I don't know if I would. I can't remember what your last question was. Say, how about that one? Lisa says, I filed for my parents 14 months ago, still no word from USCIS. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about. A parent case I-130 is the same as a marriage case. The timeline should be. Immediate relative cases. 14 months is horrible. I'm sorry, Lizzie, but yeah, it's pretty typical right now. Meg says, okay, we answered that. Denzel says, I have DACA status. I have a sister born in the U.S. Can I receive legal status through her? No, unfortunately, unless you started a case for her, in 1998 or something like that, but that's probably not the case. Your sister won't really give you any form of status there. Probably marriage to like a U.S. citizen would help, but you need to have lawful entry of some kind. Okay, we're getting a lot of the same questions over and over again. Okay, let's go to other things. Hello, AI says, hello, do you know how long it takes to get interviewed in Abu Dhabi? Probably 1 or 2 years. It's pretty backed up, more closer to 2 years. Switching up to Instagram. Okay, let's go back to Instagram. How long does it take? We answered that. Sana says, please answer my question. I don't work. I have a joint sponsorship. They gave my wife an appointment for CR1 visa. When she went to the embassy, they refused to do the interview. They want W-2 for petition. I mean, they're going to do the interview. They just want that. So you got to get the document. If they refuse the interview, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I've never seen that happen. But unfortunately, that's what happens when you don't have the lawyer, like fully process all the stuff. But I'm sure it's fixable. Just you got to get the documents they want. If you're unemployed, telling me it doesn't make sense. So this question for just tuning in is they're saying they went to the embassy appointment and they want a W-2, which is a tax evidence of income, but they're like, we're unemployed, we don't have it. I've seen embassies make really bad mistakes. So email them, let them know the document doesn't exist. And alternative, if nothing happens, contact your local Congress senator, try to fix that. This is like the good starting point. Gasoline says, why is it taking longer to schedule for second time after denial of final naturalization before 3 months new state? It's every time is different. There's no consistency. Bobby says, I'm married to a U.S. citizen. I currently do not work, but we are struggling to even make the money to file my documents. My question is, can I get a job, start working with tax ID? Bobby, I'm not allowed to tell you something that's illegal, so I can't say go work with without work authorization. If a person is married to a U.S. citizen and they don't claim to be a U.S. citizen themselves to get that job or make fake green card or fake documents, historically, I mean, there's an exemption for that. But I can't recommend someone break the rules. But that's about it. Chris Cruz follows up. A Philippine fiancé visa can take a couple years, like you said. Would a marriage be faster? Or maybe a tourist visa get here faster? Chris, it's best to talk in private about this stuff. It's getting too much into detail because I can't tell you what's best without learning all your life stuff. So it's best that you and your fiancé schedule a time to talk to one of our attorneys. There's just some stuff you just, we got to get into it. It's too personal talking, and this is getting to that point. But yeah, just schedule time. All right, let's go back to TikTok. Okay, you're welcome, Marty. Jolene says, I need to know why has mine and my husband took so long. We have 3 interviews. I don't know. They don't believe your relationship, maybe. How long? Okay, we got a lot of the how long and timeline questions. My dad has not able to get any type of visa, permit, or citizenship to be here. The guy asks questions. I can't help with that one. If my spouse doesn't speak English, can he still get U.S. citizenship? If there's an exemption for that, and there's a sickness, and they're really old or something like that. Can you apply for I-485 before I-130 is approved? If your I-130 is current, or it's a immediate relative case, yeah. Abby says, if you do a K1 and then do an AOS, we already answered that question. I mean, advanced parole for adjustment of status. I mean, it was free. I always do it. Some lawyers don't, but I always do it. But it's going to start charging, so it's up to you. Julie says, how long does it take? We always did in the past, so I don't know why you wouldn't have done it or not to do it. Some lawyers don't, so I don't understand why those lawyers don't either. How long does it take to usually get a green card through spouses? There's no usual times. Can you apply for I-4? Answer that question. Let's go see on Instagram. TikTok, we get a lot of questions asking for how long things are taking, so it's annoying. Okay, well, I guess we go back to Instagram. We go to TikTok. Hey, JQK, how fast the AD filed? I don't have timelines. Kate says, my grandma got deported using a fake visa over 25 years ago. Now they still won't let her in. Yeah, she's banned for fraud. You have to get a fraud waiver. Just it'd be really hard to do. Dima says, can I get denied citizenship if I live in RV without physical address last 5 years? Well, there's no requirement that you have a physical address. You just have to be residing in the United States, in the state of the United States. I've never had an RV kind of situation. So I honestly, I don't know how. I'd have to research, and it's not a typical situation. So you kind of have to like go with the flow and see what happens. What can I do to get her? She's old and alone. Your parent has to apply for there's no fraud waiver for children. So I'd have to see if there's some sort of exception or what happened in the past where you say it was a fraud, but it's going to be tough to do anything. I forgot to put my name on the passport picture. Will I get denied? No, you'll be okay. Will says, hi. Okay. Let's go back to YouTube really quick. See if you missed any questions there. Okay, we have a person, Michelle. How long does the I-129 case take? There's 10 different types of I-129 cases. There's the O1, there's H-1B, there's L1. There's you can do a TN on that. There's the E2 you could do on that. That's 5. It's probably like more like 6 or 7. It's probably 2 or 3 more. But so when you say how long does the I-129 take, it's like which one? Plus they offer premium processing for most I-129s. It's not all of them. So we always do premium processing for 99% of our 9 out of 10 cases. So ours are always very fast. So it's, depends on what you're asking, what you want. Jen says, we are very close to 12-month mark on the I-24 for Texas Service Center. Do you think that it'll be shortly that will send a firm? No, unfortunately. People contact me about I-24s taking 18 months easily. But 12 to 18 is pretty typical. Thomas Lee, thank you for your response. Please, can you answer the second part? Can USCIS actually contradict the IVA? Listen, like, can someone come and punch me in the face? Yeah. And that was kind of a weird example to say that, but they can do whatever they want. This is the government, and it just put aside the government. If you go to a hamburger place and someone, in your hamburger doesn't put the lettuce and the ketchup, can they do that? Yeah. You go complain to manager. Manager may care, or manager may have bad service. It's just this. They can do whatever. This is law. Like that's why you have money, you win, because then you could fight it out in the long term and win it. But in the short term, they can do whatever. Anyone can do whatever they want. So they can approve cases that are not supposed to be approved. The deny ones aren't supposed to be denied. That's just the way it works, unfortunately. That's why you got to be really clean at the beginning. That's why my job comes in. My job, the cleanest way to say it is, my job is to prevent you having issues if I'm doing it right, like 30 years from now. So I'm thinking about stuff in the way future that you wouldn't even think about because you're not in the business. Or even like you'll say, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. But it's like, no, I got to think about 360 about everything possible so that in the first case didn't happen, we had enough backing to cover it. So if a second case, your marriage case happened, we'd have it. And I don't even tell clients we do this. So, but I'll talk about it now. When we have the situation is this: when someone gets married and starts a green card case and the marriage falls apart, okay, marriages fall apart, they cancel the case. If that person goes and gets married 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, the recent thing USCIS is doing is they're going back and saying, oh, 15 years ago in 2001, or 20 years, however many years, 22 years ago, or 23 years ago, you were married, you started a case. Show us evidence that marriage is real. And you're like, I didn't talk about, I didn't know who that person is anymore. Some people even forget what their ex-wife's name is after 20 years of these kind of relations. So, and they're like, okay, it was marriage fraud that you did then, even though it wasn't. It just back in 2001, we didn't have email and stuff like that. It wasn't like I had a ton of records, part of my language. So, it's very, I guess, an animated language comes from the fact that it's so frustrating because people come to me in the situation with Thomas right here, where they got in a relationship, they didn't keep documents, and that was 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And a lot of times when you break up and get divorced, you end up ripping up all your stuff because you don't want any memories of this person. But then 10 years later, you get married, new one, you go in, then they say, oh, you did marriage fraud with that person 10 years ago. if there was marriage fraud, would you not keep the relationship and go to the end of the case? So it really destroys lives, and it's very sad. It's one of the most frustrating things that happens to me. It's why I got passionate and adamant and use this kind of language, but it's I've seen people get really hurt because of these false accusations of marriage fraud. And what do? You got to fight it out for years and years and spend a lot of money, and chances are against you, frankly. But these are one of the things that get my blood boiling about the immigration system, because I focus on couples and marriage cases. So this is the kind of scenario that I see that really bothers me. We don't do like asylum stuff here, so people have passion for helping people with those kind of humanitarian issues. For me, I want couples and people to live together and have happy families, and that's what gets me riled up. But thanks for your question, Thomas. I'm kind of embarrassed using bad language, but I hope you all understand with my explanation. Okay, so do you have to wait? Okay, let's go to questions on Instagram. Can you use your certificate of naturalization when applying for your spouse's I-485? Yeah, that's the preferred thing to use. As proof of citizenship. Dr. Sohaib says, if I'm on a J1 visa issue for research work, can I sponsor my parents in less than 18 years sibling on visit visa? Dr. Sohaib, there's no sponsoring. Your parents and your sibling on their own apply for tourist visas. There's no such thing as real sponsorship for tourist visa. Aksa says our priority date is July 2007. I can't go into analyzing dates and stuff. You got to go to the visa bulletin, check it out. If the line's not moving or they're not contacting you, that's just the way the government is. Okay. Carmen says, is there a waiting time for applying for citizenship for a minor child of a U.S. citizen? He is a recent green card holder. Is there a wait time for applying for citizenship for a minor child of a U.S. citizen? So if a U.S. citizen has a minor child and that minor child gets a green card, if the child is living with the U.S. citizen parent and residing, they automatically become a citizen. So in this situation, you apply for the kid's citizenship, showing the green card, showing the parent's citizenship, and through that, they calculate the ages. And also, what's the most important, and going back to what I was talking about earlier, is I'm thinking about things 30, 40 years down the line, issues that happen. One big problem we have in these kind of cases is your child goes and gets citizenship. The passport office will give it pretty easily in this kind of scenario. But 5, 10, 20 years from now, the person may be overseas. They go to U.S. Embassy to renew a passport, or they go with a passport center here and say, you know what? 30 years ago, when your parent, you got the original passport, when you were a child, or the certificate of citizenship, not citizenship, let me separate that. And then you got the passport. You didn't show enough evidence that you were residing with your U.S. citizen parent at that time. Go and bring us evidence you're residing with them. And they're like, where am I going to get evidence? Okay, I'm 40 years old. How am I going to get evidence of residing with my dad when I was like 15 years old? It's just like, the school records exist, so you could have school records that list the parents going to visit or something like that. But okay, what if you're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old before you're formally going to school or something like that? And we actually have people, a lot of them in Egypt right now. This is like an ongoing problem I have, where the U.S. Embassy in Egypt is reviewing new passport renewals and saying, oh, you didn't get your passport properly. You're not actually a U.S. citizen. And I'm getting weekly, I'm big in the community on the WhatsApp groups in Egypt now because I'm helping a lot of these kind of cases. People are really distraught at having your child's citizenship taken away, especially with the circumstances going to Egypt right now at the high inflation. You want to have the ability to travel if needed at the war and everything right that northeast of Egypt. So these things come really personal and passionate. And then people think like, oh, okay, it's like, just filing forms and stuff. It's like, no, we got to help people. We got to help them do it fast. We got to decide which office to deal with, which forms to apply for, which documents are good enough, which to get the case in. It's a no holds bar like match that we're doing to get this up. But simple question like that about your misunderstanding how to get citizenship. There's an initial level. It's easy that you don't need an immigration lawyer for, which is why most people don't get an immigration lawyer in this kind of case, which is just go to the passport office, show the child's green card, the parents' proof of citizenship, and bada bing, bada boom, they're done. But they'll get you 20 years from now potentially. So you need to have documented up now, even though it may not be needed now. And so a lot of my job is to prep and think about, okay, my clients we could get the case approved right now, but I need to have extra stuff in case 10 years from now when I'm not around, they come around and ask, oh, what happened here? They're set. They have copies and answers for everything. This is where experience comes from. This is where next level help comes from. I read a lot of books on service. And one of the books I read was about the Four Seasons. And that's a hotel chain that's like Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons. They have books about people who work there and how the mentality is. And they think about every little part about what's happening in the future and stuff that we wouldn't think about. And so as an immigration lawyer, my job is not just to get the immediate benefit, but it's to plan out and thinking way ahead of the line to think about how we could plan this stuff out. So that's where like thought process happening. So when and Thade says, thank you for answering your questions. You're welcome. When we have consultations, our consultations are paid consultations. People get frustrated with that. But the reason is I got to sit and talk with you because do conversation for half an hour, 40 minutes of talking, that's where the answers come out. That's where I can remember it. You know, I might say, okay, there's nothing going on, you're good. And 3 days later, from thinking about it, something might pop would be helpful. And it's just one of those things. Unless you spend time getting to know somebody and going through a live and experience and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to get that. And that's why we have consultation. We spend time getting to know people and to really find out. It's just like anything. If you're going to plant a tree, it's springtime right now. When you plant the seed's not going to get fruit for a long time. You got to water and water and water. And so you have to spend time and stuff like that. Now, there's cost to it. Obviously, it's expensive having a lawyer. But to do things right, you got to spend a lot of time sit and think. And I'm really a big fan of doing things right. So, okay, we're nearing the end of the show. Let's get some questions in there. Jen Gordon, thank you so much. Okay, so Carmen, we answered that. So let's go back to TikTok. Can a silent pending person apply for work sponsorship? That's a big issue, Shaw. We don't have time for me to spend. I have 2 different podcasts, one for customers like yourself, but I also help train other lawyers to educate other immigration lawyers, continue education. And I have episodes of my podcast, the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox podcast, that are on that issue. You have to listen to it there. The short of it is most times they're denied if you have a silent pending, apply for work permit and do adjustment of status, but sometimes it's approved. It's really luck. That's the short of it. But there's a huge amount I could talk with what the law mistakes are, but it's too analytical. I'd love to fight it, but no one wants to pay for the lawsuit. And that's one I really want to fight. Okay, conditional situation. Okay, we got 4 minutes. Let me get some juicy ones where I give like good explanations. I already answered that question. How long is 601A? 4 years. How do you research that? I lost track of what you're asking. What you do research that? Is it safe to travel with proof I-131? I can't say something safe. Is it safe to fly in a plane? Maybe not. Some people die in planes. I know I can't say that. How can I find out which one I have? Sorry, I don't know this question. So I was talking a lot and I lost track of who's answering what questions are being asked. Okay. I'm a green card holder. Can I file for my HB2 wife? Probably. Young Irons, there's the F2A category is really backed up, but if your spouse is lawfully in the United States, potentially going that, it's complicated. Young Irons definitely said there's a lot going on there, and some of it's not appropriate to talk about in public because I need more information. But definitely schedule a consultation. Go to our website, jqqlaw.com or jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in that, and we'll take from there. I don't really handle economic hardship F1 situations. It's not something I talk about. Most of my clients, economic hardship, are not going to hire me, so people don't contact me about that. It's not something I deal with. But read the instructions, just try it out. Asma says, just sponsor my parents in the U.S. How long does it take to apply for citizenship for them? Well, once a person gets a green card, they got to wait, unless they're married to a U.S. citizen or have other exceptions or something, 5 years minimum, or 4 years and 9 months. Still waiting for my 10-year visa interview. They're probably not going to interview you, but it's going to take a while to get approved. Dad, we're confused about which vaccine he needs before he gets his K-1 visa interview. You'll go to the doctor and they'll tell you. Don't worry about that. What's the wait time for I-129F? 12 to 18 months, maybe not more, if not more. How long I-130s for F2A lasts nowadays? It could be a year or two, but because it's not current, the I-130 processing. Okay. Get a couple more questions in. Asma says, okay. Paula says, is it safe to travel? Okay. They are the worst. Yeah. Does 204C prevent people from VAWA? Yeah, I think 204C prevents everything. I don't deal with VAWA myself. I'm not the VAWA attorney in our firm, so I don't know all the exceptions for VAWA. So I don't want to give an answer to that. All right, my throat's giving out. I'm going to just go fast and just probably one more question at the very end, and then we'll go from there. I passed my U.S. citizenship today. Congratulations, Lamar. That's wonderful. Congrats. What's the wait time for interview to key? Depends on your embassy. Okay, let's get one question. Should I expedite NBC? Wife is pregnant. She's expecting the interview around August. She'll be 6 months. You give it a shot, you might get lucky, but probably not going to do it. Congratulations on the pregnancy, though. It's been 5 weeks since my medical has been sent. When will I hear back from the embassy? Whenever they feel like following up. All right, last question. TNK says, hi, for a DUI causing injury in 2012, 12 months in jail, do you think I can immigrate to the U.S.? You're going to have problems. They probably will deny you based on discretion or criminal charges, but we have to analyze the conviction record, what it was, how many exact days you were, what the basis for immigration is. Is this like a work visa or is this a green card? Is a green card based on marriage or work? Is the work visa something we get a Haranka waiver for? So again, this is like the most complex situation. You got to talk with some lawyers in private to really go into it. Well, thank you, everyone. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com, or just jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in the name info kind of stuff, send it our way, and we'll reply with the way to take things next level. But if you are getting into marriage, immigration, fiance, you're married, you're love, you're passionate, and things are getting together, download our guide. marriageimmigrationlaw.com is the website to download at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Having said that, God bless, be safe. We'll see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, as we are for last many years. Bye-bye.